Example 2, the Program for International Student Assessment, administered through the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, tracks the educational performance of students around the world by administering standardized tests to samples of students from different countries for every 3 years. Figure 5.12 shows the recent mathematics results from 6 selected countries using 2 sets of bars, one for boys and one for girls. The first set of bars shows that in the United States, boys outperform girls in mathematics tests, and sometimes, in fact, used to argue that boys inherently are better than girls in mathematics. Based on the overall graph, comment on the validity of the argument. Um, and so what you could see here is we could kind of analyze this, and we see for the most part, boys are higher, girls are higher in Finland, and girls are higher in Russia. And so the we could see the gender gap in mathematics in the United States holds for some other countries as well. Okay, and you could kind of see, in some countries it's kind of significantly higher than other ones, but not all. Okay, and so we see that girls in Finland and Russia outperform boys. Okay, and there's a lot of ways you can go with this. Okay. And so also too, we see that, in other countries, the gap is pretty significant. Okay. Canada, Japan, South Korea, is significant. So basically you've kind of got a couple of different things, that you could kind of argue. Okay. And also the other thing you can see from this graph is that it looks like Finland, Canada, Japan, and South Korea are far outperforming the Americans. Okay, they're performing significantly higher levels. So, comment on the validity of the argument. The first bar shows the fact that argues that boys are inherently better than girls. You could say we also see that Finland, Canada, Japan, and South Korea perform significantly better than the US. So what we're kind of seeing here is that it's, the gap, it might not be necessarily just a gender gap, but basically we don't really have, I think, significant evidence. Now, some would argue we do have significant evidence that boys are inherently better than girls, but we don't necessarily have significant evidence. As I think you could argue that we don't have significant evidence to support that claim as well. Okay. All right. The gaps might be due to cultural or educational practices, cultural factors or educational practices. And so, validity of the argument, we cannot fully conclude. Now, you might be able to argue that the argument is valid. Because there could be, could be some cultural factors at play or educational practices. I'll add that. Cultural factors or educational practices might, be in play, might be issues causing this, might be responsible for the gaps. Okay, so just how the certain cultures are and how they approach education, or how different educational practices are carried out for different countries, those could also be in play.